In the most recent video on Square, I mentioned the potential acquisition of a company called Credit Karma. The deal has now been all but sealed. Welcome back to the channel, family. My name is Trey, getting in touch with you from Japan. On this channel, we take a look at stocks and investing. I recently took a bunch of the content that was on this channel and shifted it over to a new channel, which is more focused on entrepreneurship, life in Japan, how to grow a small business, and primarily centered around a series that I started where we took $200 and turned it into $1 million and explaining, how to grow a small business and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, click up here. That'll take you over to that channel where you can subscribe and watch more. So jumping back into Square, Square has been one of those kind of world-changing stocks that a lot of people have fallen in love with recently. We've been following them on the channel now, and we just did a video of them recently a couple of weeks ago. We've seen the stock price going up and down a little bit. Right now it's at about 213. Not a huge amount of drama like a lot of the other stocks we've been looking at on this channel. And I don't actually suspect that this acquisition is going to influence the stock price immediately in a big way, like in what we saw with the Slack acquisition mentioned in this video here. Before we take a look at the news and the acquisition, let's take a step back and look at who Square is. My way of looking at stocks and stock investing is I like to consider myself as one of the owners of the company, and therefore I want to be investing in it long term. I want to get to know the strengths and weaknesses and the business model. And so if you're that kind of investor, I think our styles will match pretty well. Square, I don't think, is the kind of stock where you can just throw some money at it and then it's going to double or triple in a week or anything like that. We've been seeing it grow over the years, and I'm pretty sure it's going to keep growing steadily over the coming years as well. Square's primary goal is to bring banking to the unbanked or underbanked. There's a large portion of society, even in the US, let alone Europe and Africa and Asia, where people just don't really have access to banking services. And so Square's primary goal is to be able to reach those people and just make it super easy, super quick, and even fun for people to use. But what's being said in the parentheses after that statement is that Square will be replacing banks, basically. So we're seeing Square offer services like direct deposit, cash cards, all kinds of bonuses or boosts that they call them. If you're shopping at Square vendors, you can get, $5 off your pizza because you both use Square, kind of thing. So there are a lot of things that Square are doing that make banking, that make shopping, that make managing, saving, investing your money like super easy and fun. Square initially started out with hardware and software with analytics for micro retailers, basically a point of service or POS terminal that made transactions and made managing your money super quick. One of the really kind of groundbreaking things they did was that they made it so that right as soon as a customer swiped, the funds were available instantly in your account. And that was new at the time. A lot of the bigger banks and a lot of the bigger transaction payment processing kind of companies are still trying to figure out how they can make that happen. Later on in about 2013, Square launched the Cash App, which has kind of become the backbone of this whole model and is also a huge source of their daily user growth. And as mentioned earlier, there are like a lot of cool things you can do on it. There's now fractional shares. You can invest your money. Like if you get your direct deposit coming into your Square account, you invest some of it in stocks, you invest some of it in crypto now, Bitcoin being one of those, and then you use it at other vendors or you pay your friends for dinner or whatever. Like you basically sidestep, go around banks in general, and it ends up being a very slick and easy to use process. Jack Dorsey, the controversial and visionary CEO of both Twitter and Square, is very like Elon Musk-ish. He has a vision for the future, and it's not like my goal is to be rich, I think. Elon Musk has basically like started to sell all of his houses and cars and stuff like that because he's like, dude, these material things just distract me from the goal of getting humans to be able to live on Mars type thing. I don't think Jack Dorsey is quite at that super advanced level yet in terms of like being super materially minimalistic or anything like that. But his goal is basically like, there's a huge part of the world that can't bank, so let's help them. As the Square Cash App grows in its offerings and also daily users, we're also seeing revenues trending up. This Hyperchart here shows how Bitcoin has become a huge portion of the activity on the Cash App. That's the green portion. We see in the first quarter, Bitcoin sales made up about 306 million of the revenues. Then quarter two, 875 million. And then quarter three, 1.6 billion. So it's like doubling every quarter. But there are some things to be careful about when looking at that Bitcoin revenue growth. And if you want to learn more about that, check out the more in-depth video I did a couple of weeks ago. So Square is making it super easy to buy crypto. And speaking of buying crypto really easily, we've recently become partners with Webull. We have a link down in the description. And if you sign up to become a Webull member and put in more than $100, you'll get 4 stocks valued up to $3,700 USD. And now you can trade shares. You can also trade crypto. If you sign up using that link, that will help us here at the channel to continue to grow and to continue to offer you even more videos like this. So one of the really interesting things about the Square Cash business model in particular is that they get to see all of the things that you're doing with your money. If you're like a heavy investor, or if you really like to shop at this store and this store and this store, or if you're spending a lot of money on beer, or if you're spending a lot of money on video games, like they get to build a profile of who you are. And that allows them to further refine their offerings to you, making you happier, but also making them more money. But there are a few really interesting things about this whole Credit Karma transaction acquisition as well. Number one is that if most of your transactions are taking place in the Square app, now with the click of like a couple of buttons, your taxes are also done for free inside the app. That makes your life really easy. That's gonna make you wanna tell all of your friends, like, dude, I've done my taxes. It was like 2 clicks. It didn't take me half a day like it always does. According to Business Wire's article linked below in the description, it looks like about 80 million plus people in the US, which is about half of all tax filers, have started to transition to using online tax preparation methods. And so this is like a really big market, a TAM, total addressable market, for Square in this acquisition. Up until now, Credit Karma hasn't really been a big company, but when paired with all of these other different little cool services that Square Cash App offers, and offered for free in the Cash App, when they're already monitoring all of your transactions anyway, it could end up being like a huge value add for Square Cash App users. And in the past, we've seen that the more different kind of services and functions that people are using, the more money Square is making off of each user. Square is going to be buying Credit Karma for $50 million, a relatively easy acquisition for Square's market cap of $96 billion. Last we saw, they had $1.8 billion in cash and cash equivalents. So this is one of those acquisitions that shouldn't take long to pay off. Things aren't sealed in stone 100% yet, but we should see the last steps kind of wrapping up here in the coming weeks. Taking a look at this Hyperchart, we can see the monthly active users of the Square Cash App. Starting in 2019's fourth quarter, we have 24 million active users. Goes up to 27, 30, 33, and I'm sure this quarter we're going to see even more growth. And we've also seen gross profits hit a high of 385 million, which is a 212% year-over-year growth. We've seen gross payments on the Cash App up 332% year-over-year to $2.9 billion. So it'll be interesting to see how adding this whole tax preparation portion of the Cash App contributes to the number of monthly users as well as these revenue figures. So remember, this is one of those things that's not necessarily like, hey, they're buying this company and now they're gonna get all of their huge revenues. It's kind of like an elephant getting a mouse. Like, it's not gonna fill its stomach. It's not gonna change the bottom line tremendously. It's more planned to be one of those things that's like a really convenient service that makes Cash App all the more appealing. And we've seen from the past that when Cash App just functions really well, word of mouth spreads, more and more users get on it, and the more frequently people are opening it, the more money Cash is making, especially if they're going to be doing a lot of stock or crypto investing as well. So what am I going to do with the stock right now with Square? Those of you who've been watching the channel, been following, know that I'm just kind of in the habit of always buying Square. I think it's going to be revolutionizing the world. I think it's going to keep going up month over month and year over year going into the future. We might have dips. You know, we have a lot of uncertainty in the market right now with this EV bubble going on. We have kind of like a new president coming in. Vaccine certainty is like 90%, 100%. Like, depends what sources you're reading. Is the vaccine going to be coming out like in December or next December? Like, seems like there's a lot of conflicting news. And at the same time, pandemic infections are blowing up all over the world. So don't be surprised if we see some more drama. My method of investing is to be kind of always slowly just buying in. And I'm pretty sure Square is going to be doing really well in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 years from now. So that's what I think about the stock, and I think this is really going to strongly contribute to that. Right now, the stock price is sitting at about 212. We've seen an all-time high of 214, I think it was. So we're basically at the top. So please don't go throwing your entire life savings at it right now. I just invest conservatively and slowly dollar cost averaging in. That's the way I do it. What are you guys going to do? Are you going to be buying more? Are you going to be starting a position in Square? Let me know down in the comments section below. Looking forward to talking with you more there. Thank you guys very much for watching all the way to the end of the video. I hope you have a great week and/or weekend. Have a great one, and I love you.